to welcome Geoff Simpson, who is the former Peregrine Travel Centre SA director and owner, and he is at the moment living in Lyon in France with his family, and you've been there for the last 11 months, Geoff?
Yep, that's right, 11 months tomorrow.
Yes, so we just thought we'd get in touch with Geoff and have a chat to him about what it's been like over there, living through the COVID-19 restrictions and what's been going over, sort of to give us a bit of a representation of what's been happening in Europe. Obviously, when you're listening to the media and watching the media, you can't always get a clear picture of what things are like. So we thought we'd get Geoff to join us and have a bit of a chat. So thanks for joining us, Geoff.
Pleasure. Good morning. It's 9 o'clock here in the morning on a hot 35-degree day in June.
Oh, well, that's very good because it's raining and 13 degrees here today. So
short sleeve shirts.
So first of all, how are you and the family doing, and how's it been over there in Lyon in terms of being in quarantine? Have you reached a full lockdown, or how's it been?
Well, we did reach a full lockdown. We had a 56-day complete lockdown from the 17th of March to the 11th of May. We had a total lockdown, which means we couldn't do much at all. We were allowed, it was very strict actually, we were allowed out 1 hour a day to buy food and to exercise. Lyon is a population of about 2 million people. Most people live in apartments. So you can't walk around your backyard or whatever, so you have to really get out and do some exercise to stay sane. But we had to complete forms, and the police were checking you if you stayed over your 1 hour or didn't have a form on you to say what you're doing. You're getting a very heavy fine and hundreds of euros in fines. Okay. So it was pretty strict. So 56 days was pretty testy, but we got through. And long as we didn't go out every day, we went out every second, third day on average.
And you could go out as a family still, all three of you? Or
Yeah. You could go out as a family, but yeah, with kids, you couldn't go out with a group of people, couldn't go out with 4 adults, you had to go out separately.
Okay.
But it's pretty strict.
Yeah, so a lot stricter than what we ended up with here in Adelaide.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and what's like now at the moment? The restrictions have obviously eased a little bit? Yep,
restrictions have been eased. I mean, the restaurants are now back to normal, pubs back to normal, plenty of people out in the streets. People are wearing masks. You have to wear a mask on public transport, in train stations. When you walk into shops, you've got to put a mask on and wash your hand with the antiseptic.
Yeah.
It's still a bit quiet. A lot of people in Lyon, like in Paris, have country homes. A lot of people fled to the hills, as you say, when the virus started to get away from people, and a lot of them haven't come back yet. And school holidays start here in just over a week's time, end of June. So 3rd of July, actually. So a lot of people are sort of saying, well, we might as well stay away now and don't come back until September when school starts again.
Yeah.
So it's a bit quieter than normal, but it's pretty close to normal.
Okay, and so regional travel within France then is allowed. Obviously, you're allowed to be.
Yep. Planes and trains are back on. You have to wear masks, of course. My wife called a train down to Montpellier on the TGV, the very fast train. They do 380 km an hour. You have to wear a mask on the train and the train stations. But yeah, it's pretty well back to normal. Yeah.
And did you, in terms of like numbers of cases, or what was it sort of like over there, to have a bit of a comparison, I guess, compared to?
Well, yeah, it's hard to compare. I mean, there was a lot more cases, but also a lot more people. I mean, there's 67 million French living in an area the size of New South Wales.
Yeah.
So it's just, you've got masses of people living in one area. Of course, there's going to be more. Europe's got 500 million people living inside the size of Australia.
Yeah.
So when the virus started, I mean, it spread before anybody knew what was going on. At least in Australia, I mean, Sydney and Melbourne are big cities, but there's still a lot of people living in suburbs, living in houses with big yards. Here, we walk out our front door here, and all of a sudden we're walking with people outside our front door.
Yeah.
If you walk outside your front door or our front door in Adelaide and observe, you won't see anybody for 10, 20 metres at the maximum, or minimum.
Yeah.
So
Makes a difference.
totally different. So yeah, there's a lot more cases. But having said that, I don't want to be cocky here, but there was a third of all French deaths were people over 80.
Okay.
So it was, it was a very, I think also half of that was in nursing homes.
Yeah.
So, the numbers of people who actually died who were sort of healthy and young was very minimal.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Having said that, I'm in retirement age, and I did suggest people over 65 don't go out too often.
So within sort of talking broader Europe now, obviously there are some countries that are starting to open up travel for certain other countries. I guess just as a generalisation, what do you think Europeans will begin to sort of travel soon and cross over the borders for, I guess, coming into the European summer, which is generally quite busy over there?
Yeah. Again, got 500 million Europeans starting their summer holidays in about a week's, 10 days time. They want to travel. They want to get to the beach. They want to go see family. And the borders are open. They opened up, I think it was the 15th of June, they opened up. I had some friends who drove to Germany last weekend. I mean, Germany here is only about a 3-hour drive. Switzerland's a 2-hour drive. So it's all pretty close. And it is open. I'm not sure if it's going to stay open for the next 6 months. Depends if there's a second wave. There's all this rumours about a second wave coming in European autumn. But this stage, Europe's pretty well open to travel. I know England, you can't get to England. Well, you can go to England, but you have to do a 14-day self-isolation.
Yeah.
And like Ireland and some certain European countries, but Spain, the ones that border with France, Spain, Germany, Italy, is all wide open.
Yeah. It will definitely be interesting to see what happens once that people do start moving between the countries as well. So
it's happening now, starting now. Time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the travel industry here in Australia has been hit pretty hard, and all over the world for that matter.
Yeah.
You've been in travel for a very long time, for over 30 years, so much longer than I have.
6 years.
Has it surprised you to sort of see what's happened, from, I guess it was really a matter of weeks that it sort of went from being manageable to sort of shutting everything down completely, and sort of how you see the industry bouncing back from all of this. And I
mean, this is obviously much different. In the past, there was always a natural disaster, a terrorist attack, or sort of September 11th, for example, in New York. There was some SARS and bird flu, which affected some parts of the world. And at one stage, the Middle East was not safe to go to, but you still had other parts of the world to go to. If there was an earthquake in Nepal, which there was a big one, well, okay, you'd lose your business to Nepal for 6 months, but you'd do something else. But this time it's across the board totally.
Yeah.
So will it bounce back? Maybe. I don't think cruising will for a long, long time. I mean, unless they find a vaccine.
Yeah.
Until then, I don't think cruises will come back at all for a long time. Large-scale group travel where people are confined into a coach, or cruises. Small group travel, like what we tend to, or you, Peregrine, tend to do, should be okay. People, I think, are worried about going overseas and getting stuck and can't get back.
Yeah.
Like happened a lot of people back in March. We had people here, people in Europe, who couldn't get back to Australia for months. That's what they're worried about. So until the vaccine comes through, it's going to be tough. But people love travelling still, and I think they'll still will travel. But some things will take longer than other, like cruises.
Definitely. I mean, we're already starting to see some changes. Intrepid and other tour operators have brought out more local experiences within Australia, and starting to support New Zealand a bit more for when that bubble opens up to travel between Australia and New Zealand. So
Yeah.
there'll still be ways for people to travel within the next 12 months, even if they don't want to head overseas. But it is hard, especially when you work and love the industry, to see that people aren't able to explore those places. And obviously there's a lot of places around the world that rely on tourism and on travellers coming over there. So
I think tourism employs the second highest number of people in the world as an industry. It's an incredible industry, massive.
yeah.
I think all the airlines, hotels, tour companies, you name it, just goes millions upon millions of people who employ the industry.
Yeah.
Very sad.
It is. And I think there might be some positives that's come out of this in terms of the way that travel will change in the future. You've obviously mentioned that at the moment, traveling on trains, there have to have masks and things like that. But I think once attractions start to open, things like theme parks or places like that, there's going to be some social distancing rules and restrictions in place. So it'll also be interesting to see how those things change over time as well.
Yeah, I mean, the positives, I guess, would be that it would be a good time to come to Europe the next two years, 21, 22, because the crowds won't be here. Because normally the best time to come to Europe is summer, although July, August is very hot and very crowded anyway. But even there's queues to go to see any attractions, any villages. Everything's very busy with school holidays, but it will be quieter. It'll be a good time to come. I think also another positive in the future in travelling is that the traveller in general will be more aware of self-hygiene and keeping the number of people come home from a flight with the flu, coming home from Europe or America or anywhere in the world, they pick up a bug on the plane, or I think that they pick it up on the plane. But I have now. I wash my hands, 5-6 times a day.
Yeah.
Every time I go out from the apartment and touch door handles and hop on a bus and come back and wash my hands. I think will be less general sickness from travel bugs, because people will be more hygienic, more conscious of hygiene. I also reckon there'll be more competitive pricing too. For hotels will be competitive, tours will be more competitive, airfares perhaps will be cheaper. So I think it will be a good time to travel. And if you're smart and if you're, with personal hygiene and adhere to the conditions, I wouldn't hesitate coming back to Europe next year.
Yeah.
This time next year, unless there's a massive big pandemic again coming through. But if things stay the same, it's never going to disappear. Just too many people in this world. But I think, provided it depends how you travel. But if you're just going to have to do a hire car and drive around France and Spain or whatever for a month, I think it'd be fine.
Well, that's it. I think a lot of people might move to the independent type of travel where we put together the packages for themselves. Or, as you mentioned, there won't be large coach touring as such, but a lot of the companies will have smaller group tours in place, and still plenty of ways to explore the world. So hopefully, we're still only in June, so a lot can change in the next sort of 3 to 6 months. And as we've seen in the last 3 months, how much things have been changing daily, weekly. So it's such a hard thing to guess and to predict about how it's going to turn out in the end as well.
Exactly, yeah. If there is a reoccurrence or if the numbers grow again, I think this time, every government in the world should be, I know here in France particularly, they're pretty organised. They know what they didn't do the first time, what they should have done, and what they're going to do this time.
Yeah.
And it's been 3 months. Well, back in March, they had no idea what was going on. They were guessing and getting help from the professionals, but there's a lot of guesswork what they should be doing. But now they know what they should do.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will bounce. If it comes back a bit, because people will be travelling around, I don't think it will come back how it was. So, anyway, it's good to be optimistic.
Yes, well, that's it. And I guess for all of us, we're hoping that we can ourselves be heading off and exploring the world again and sending our clients on those trips too. We've had lots of clients miss out this year, obviously, and had to postpone their trips. So, across that.
I had friends and family who had booked to come and visit the last few months, to come and see us and here in Lyon and spend a week with us, etc., which would have been great, but didn't happen. So everybody's been affected in small ways and large ways, and of course the travel industry has been affected badly.
Yeah,
It'll come back.
It will. Just got to hang in there and wait and see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Geoff, for calling in and having a chat with us. It's great to hear what it is like firsthand over there in France. You can always feel a bit removed from the rest of the world over here in Australia, which is not necessarily a bad thing during a pandemic, but it's good to get some information from you to see what it's like and hear that it's all sort of slowly going back to normal, which is great.
Yeah, it is. It is back to normal. I said with a few exceptions, it's life's pretty good actually in France in June and summertime, and pretty good food, good weather, and yeah, can't complain too much.
Beautiful. Well, enjoy your rest of your summer over there in France, and let's hope things continue as they have been, and we can all be back exploring the world as soon as possible.
We hope so.
Perfect. Thank you, Geoff.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Bye.